Yeah. Overview in one gallery. Looks good.
Hello, Catherine.
Hello there. Long time no talk to or see.
Yes, I've been a little busy.
Yes, I can understand that. I've got a variety of warrants. I just got some signatures on. If I sent you the signature pages, would you be able to sign off on those? I've certified them.
Yep.
Okay, good. I'll send
Yep.
it to you tonight. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah. Welcome.
That will be helpful. Boy, we processed through an amazing amount of checks. Melody was going on vacation, so I said every single bill needs to be paid up that needs to be paid. And she did a really good job.
Well, good.
We set up a whole new purchase order system that makes it, she's able to understand that and able to process things more quicker than the regular way. So it took a while in the beginning, but it's actually much easier and it saves a lot of time. It was a lot of time in the beginning, but now it's going to save time as we go along.
Right. Well, that's good.
It's good. Very good. Save my time too. All right. Need a pen?
My light is too bright. There we go. That's better.
Yep. So I didn't have a lot for this meeting, so I did put in the information. I apologize, it's horizontal, but that's the way the reports come, and trying to change them over to vertical makes tiny, tiny reports that no one can read.
Right. No, that's not a problem because I didn't print anything out except the agenda.
Mhm.
And I noticed the minutes were from the meeting in December.
Yes, yes, the last one.
So,
Time is
but I can read off my tablet.
okay, good. I know time is zipping by. I can't believe it.
Okay, so where do I want to be? So is this the first? We're just looking at the investments tonight.
Yes, and talking about the budget process. And then Heather wanted to talk about municipal solar options and how we could get involved with that, which is a major project.
Okay.
So I think she invited a company to talk to us tonight, which
Okay.
hopefully will be easier to understand than some of the out-of-state companies that have been contacting us about the airport, which is hard to put any project on because of all the FAA requirements. And then the lagoon system property, which has USDA requirements and coverance on it, and a roadway which is only for abutters. All right, we've got Jason. Well, I've got 22 meetings this week, so it's kind of crazy.
I would say.
Luckily, most of them are Zoom meetings, so I don't have to drive around too much. Only drive a few places.
I don't know why people wouldn't want to use it all the time.
It works out really well. Even on presentations, you just share the screen and the other person takes over and you just have your documents lined up so you can just click on them so they come up on the screen and then
Yep.
everybody can see them.
Well, it's too bad that the council is going to go back to meeting in the chambers. I'm glad I'm not going to be one of them. Zoom is definitely the more intelligent choice.
I figured that it would happen this summer because you'd have things straightened out by then. Oh, this is nice. They've got a new little gadget that comes up that tells you your meeting starts in 5 minutes.
Oh,
It'll
well, I
start.
see it says Jason Hall, but then I don't have it. He's not.
I think he doesn't have his video on yet.
Oh,
If I'm not part of like a vote thing, so do I have to turn it on?
No, but we'd like to see you. You can turn it on. It's okay. We really are pretty informal on the voting part.
Okay.
We'll just make believe you're part of the committee.
Well, if I was gonna like stuff my face, I haven't eaten yet, so.
Oh, well, go
neither-
ahead and have something to eat. All right, now we understand what's going on.
Yeah.
That's fine. I know. I haven't eaten much for days. Whirlwind here of projects. All these large projects all came that were stuck at different levels of the state and federal government have all unrolled now. They've been stuck for a long time. Our projects like the airport is zipping forward now. We can apply for a grant and everything.
That's good.
You just don't know how many federal people we've talked to over the years that tried to dissuade us from this. Just because it's such a huge project, you can only save $600,000 and the project's, $1 million or so.
Yeah, but it's important to the town
It is important. Yeah, it will
for growth.
cement the airport so it can grow. And then once you have the hangars, you can bring in those businesses that wanted to come to town over the years, but they wanted a nice hangar, not the old ones we have where you had to move the airplanes out to get to the space. And they're all cramped in a couple of old hangars. So it'll be a traction tool.
Yep.
Now we just have to find somebody that will build it for a reasonable price.
I'm sure there's somebody out there.
There is. People are interested in the airport. I think somebody will come through. All right, we got Heather. Oh, Heather's got a pretty picture there. I know what that is. I found I can't put pictures on because my head moves because it's got too much energy and I want to make sure that I can keep the zoom on. We didn't buy the really expensive package. We just bought the unlimited meeting one.
Well, I don't have much to show. I don't need a picture behind me. So, are we ready?
Heather, do we expect anyone else? Oh, you're muted.
We can't hear you.
There we go.
There.
I'm trying to get my computer started. I went down to the office and it was locked, so I ran back home again. So, I didn't. Amanda didn't really confirm whether she was going to be joining us or not.
Mm-hmm. All right, very good. Well, we can have. There's 2 finance committee members and an interested party. Were you expecting the municipal solar options company to join us or?
Not tonight. No. I told him tonight I would just bring up the topic and we would talk about it. And if we decided we were interested in getting more information, then we would kind of go to the next thing. Said that he was interested in coming tonight.
All right, very good. Thank you. So you all received meeting minutes, and the last meeting that we had, it seems like just yesterday, but it was December 8th, 2020. So you could look those over quickly. That was on the last budget session that the Finance Committee had when they met with both the Police Department and the Public Works Department, being the largest budgets of the town that had large increases, and worked out some cuts to their budgets. And then we went over debt service and how we were not going to have a loan this year, as well as some funding that is left in the 2 loans that we did get. Still waiting for a couple of bills though, but we're going to have to end this here. It's just hard to get bills now. So that was pretty much the gist of the meeting.
I didn't. So-
I move we accept the minutes from the December 8th, 2020 meeting.
I'll second.
All right.
Yeah, I guess.
Go
I
ahead.
guess we agree.
We do agree. All right, what else is going on? I don't see anyone else coming in, but there was a ding. No,
I know, I heard that too.
Yeah, I don't see anyone. All right.
Oh, I see Jason on. I don't see him, but he's listed as a participant.
Mhm. Yes, he's on.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
All right, good. So we have 2 votes of the 2 members that are here, so that passes. For the expense warrants, I did talk to Deborah. I've got a number of warrants here. Jason and Brent just came in. We have 2 new large warrants. Warrant 15 that totals $338,691.69, and a 2020 bills, because we did coats out 4 bills here, for $9,055.45. That's warrant 14. So those 2 are new warrants that Heather has not seen. So the next time you can come down when you're driving by the office, if you can come in, we'll have those out for you. And Deborah's going to look those over as well as some of the other ones. So thank you all for coming in. It's been a slow process to get the signatures, but we do need 2 Finance Committee member signatures in order to issue the warrants.
Okay,
So thank you, Deborah. I'm going to send those sheets out to you tonight.
okay,
Yeah, thank you. Water and sewer commitments are all up to date and going along really well. Karen has done a wonderful job with water and sewer and getting that all reorganized in good order and getting a lot of items up to date. I think once we get to another couple of months, we can start reorganizing and changing what we're doing to make it more efficient. So that will be really good. Number C is review reserves and trust statements. So because we were having our first Finance Committee meeting in a while, I included a copy of the Bar Harbor Trust Reserves Trust. It's mostly reserves. Reserves are capital allocations made by the town council through the budget process that are placed in accounts and then spent with council approval. And there are a few trusts in there that were in there before I arrived. We've canceled out a few, but still have some in there. The interest rate is less on these, but they are more easily accessible than the TD Wealth Pittsfield Cemetery Trust. This takes a bit longer to get, and you can obtain your funding when items are sold. And so they know the TD Wealth knows when we have certain allocations coming out, and we've now added on an allocation at the end of the year to have the cemetery budget paid for through the trust, which has a magnificent amount of interest in it. So I apologize. Those are statements that come that are large, or they're set up on landscape, so they're a little bit hard to read. And if you change them over to a vertical setting, they're tiny to read, and making them bigger just doesn't work out well. So I included the reconciliation sheet for the Bar Harbor Trust Reserves and Trusts, which shows that the 20 odd reserves and trusts, which have all been approved by the town council with the budget, come to a total of $1,978,326.08 as of 1/31/2021. And we just received the reconciliation document for February. So then I'll go through a full reconciliation and create this sheet so you can follow it. And this reconciles very easily once you do the inputting and all the postings and everything. The largest account is the sewer sludge removal, which we've asked to change at the bank just to sewer capital budget, in which fortunately we've been allowed by the USDA to not have to place $85,000 of the sewer budget in this capital reserve, and instead we can also spend some out once we determine what sewer projects we would be working on. So this is fortunate. And then you have a spreadsheet on the cemetery general fund capital improvement and Georgia Parks account. And that total is $1,047,165.73, of which approximately $700,000 is interest. We're very fortunate when we moved these all over, they were in the low 200,000, and the account has done magnificent since 2003. There were a few years when the account went way down because the economy and the Dow went way down. But this has worked out really well for the town, having them organized and purchasing the items through professional managers rather than having the money in all these different accounts and the town investing it itself, because this way they can be in all the different sectors. When I arrived here, they were in only certain sectors. So either it was really high and then the next month it could be really low and there was no medium. So now we've got the medium and we're starting to gain back what we lost at the end of the year when the Dow went down. So it's starting to go up again, which is good. And that's a very quick analysis. So if nobody has any questions on the reserves, we've got one little one that when we have something to do with the reserves, I'll have you close it out into another account. Just has a small balance of under $200 from a project, but it's not, we'll do that as a housekeeping item when we do something else that goes along with it. So if nobody has any questions on the reserves of the trust, we can go on to the 2021 budget process. We've got our whole calendar of meetings and we've approved that meeting schedule, at least right now. And so I wondered if there's any items that people would like to do or interested in analysis, items being reviewed that we would start earlier, not right now, but earlier than when we start in July with a budget workshop. Is there a certain thing that we'd like to do or things that we think that we should plan for? Anything you can think of as like a brainstorming thing, just to start off.
I think the way that we did it last year worked very well, everything coming through the finance committee first. Looking at the original budget and then follow that same process. I don't know. What do you think, Heather?
I think the way we're doing it worked out really well. We've been able to kind of pinpoint discussions with the full council and made it a little more effective in the full council meetings. Catherine, right now, are you looking for potential projects?
Anything that you're interested in, because then we can put it into the work schedule. My email was down for a few days, off and on, and then down. And then I ended up with over 400 emails and lots of requests. So everything is heating up. All our projects are starting to get loosened at the state and federal level. So if we're going to work on some major projects, we're going to have to schedule them.
So there's two things that we've talked about in the past. One was looking at having a split tax payment so that we had like two tax payments due a year in order to split it so that it wasn't a huge lump sum for people all at once. And I know you have the tax payment plans that people can do, like the tax clubs and things like that. But that was something that we had talked about before. And then the other thing was looking at whether to go to biweekly payroll. Was the second thing that we had looked at as far as the number of checks that need to be written and the processing of that.
So for the biweekly payroll, that's the easy one to look at. in terms of the payroll company, I don't even know how they do this so inexpensively. If we did all the processing, it would take a lot more time than what they do. So they process through all the checks. Any change for the payroll would have to be negotiated with the police union for their employees. The rest can be done by the town council with input. So we can list out the pros and cons of that. I'm still thinking that because of the use of time, we're going to want to see the timesheets on a weekly basis rather than bi-weekly, just in terms of
Well,
time.
you can still have them turn in timesheets weekly,
Yeah, I think we're going to have to.
even if you go to a bi-weekly.
Mhm.
When I worked at MCI, and I think they probably still do that, is bi-weekly, and through the first few paychecks, I don't think it's a problem for individuals. You get adjusted to it. And I think it could save the town some money.
All right, so we'll try to calculate out the costs and the benefits of that. The split tax payments is a little harder. I've done that before and gone through the whole analysis. I had charts in 2 towns that we did that in, but we did it during good economy because people are going to be paying ahead of when they normally pay. There would be a 6-month period, which would be the first half of the year in order to change us over to the fiscal year. So let's say it took place in 2022, you would have a 6-month budget period for January 1st through June 30th of 2022, and people would have a tax payment due on May. People are used to paying in October of each year. So they would be paying 6 months ahead of time and have to have the money saved up to do that. That would then change us over to July 1st through June 30th of the next year with 2 biannual tax payments, one probably in October, one again in April, May. So you'd have during that 18-month period 3 tax payments, because right now we go all year without the tax money. Which means that we start out the year with a lot of money and then we're way low in the middle of the year. Once we get to July, August, before the tax bills go out, we have to be extremely cautious during last year. And we did borrow the TAN, tax anticipation note. We would have been okay without it, but it was good to have it just in case something happened. You didn't know what was going to happen during that year. It was a bizarre year. So it would put us back to where we were before in terms of the cash would be coming in more regularly, but it would have a drastic impact on the citizens if you're in a bad economy because they got to pay earlier. If you do it in a good economy, it works out good. I don't know if we'll have good economy for a few years here.
Is there any way that publicizing the change would help that in this year for doing it next year or
we'd have
the year after?
We'd have to give a lot of time, and maybe the promotion of the tax club would help out. They can't join the tax club now because we're partway through the year, but if you set this for like 2023, and then you put the people on the tax plan for 2022, then a lot of people, if they join, would have enough money for that first payment. So that might be a solution during a down economy. It would be hard for people to come up with the monies. With the credit cards coming online, we see people charging things left and right, and they're talking about how they don't have the money. And then I think of the interest rate they're going to be paying and everything. And I know people think that that's okay, but it's sort of a moral issue. It's good that we have the credit cards, because then those that do have the money, they can charge it and have the convenience of it. It's pros and cons. I can do a pro and con sheet of both. there'll be additional costs, but there'll be additional benefits. We have to figure out the amount of interest that we would get, and then the cost to do a double billing. So there's some pluses and minuses. I have old charts and everything.
Well, the only reason that I brought it up is because I felt that it would bring a steady flow of
It will.
revenue into the town office
Mhm,
to
it
pay
would.
bills.
Mhm. It would. We would go from, the months in which we have a lot of money, which is the beginning of the year, and then during the middle of the year, it's extremely lean. I've just learned over the years from when I came here and you didn't have any money, because that's when I arrived. We had to learn to adapt to that. So you know how to schedule the payments and when you're doing new contracts, when to put the payments in different parts of the year. And then once the tax money starts coming in September, October, you start having a lot of cash again. So it has its pros and cons, but it would be difficult for the citizens, I think, overall, in the beginning. So those are two items to look at. We can do a one-page summary sheet here and then have some additional information.
Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, I'm not entirely committed to either one of those. I think the payroll one would probably be the most beneficial from a bookkeeping point of view. But if you have a payroll company doing it already, and they're much more efficient and inexpensive than we could do it ourselves, then I don't know that we would be seeing all that much of a benefit from it.
We can look at the processing costs in the office and getting the timesheets in order to enter in the different types of time that people have. Although that's gotten better because we don't have the comp time, so you have less categories now. All right, so
Okay.
we'll look at those two items. Is there anything anyone can think of? Anything else, projects you want to look at?
The only other project I had was the solar, but that's on our agenda later on.
Okay. All right, very good. So we've got our budget calendar for the year. We've got all of our meetings set up, and I just want to have a couple of months before we get back into the budget again. All right, other business, Efficiency Maine municipality retrofits update. So you got a copy of the information that went out individually and then is in the package now regarding the LED lighting retrofit. This is only an estimate. It's an estimate from one company that put this together for us. The fire chief is trying to find an electrician that is on the Efficiency Maine listing who's available to go out and really estimate this for us. And is having a hard time doing this. It's because everybody's doing it and then the electricians are backed up anyway. The list is large of the electricians, so he may need to go further out of our area into the Bangor area or even into the Augusta area to get some. This may be a project due to its timing that if we're interested in this and we think I think these are robust figures. I think last time we did this, we had an incentive and it did do well, but it wasn't as good as the projection. But the lighting is old in some of the buildings, especially the town garage. The water department wastewater facilities aren't used as much, but they do have old fixtures. The savings are a lot less. The municipal building is the large one, and that includes the fire station, which has I feel like the beginning lighting that existed any place here. So they need some upgrades. The police department, we did upgrades over there when we did the municipal building, but not as much. And that was back in 2003, 2004, 5, because we went to updated lighting, which is now out of date here. So the municipal building would have the most benefit. I think it would be good in the town garage because it's so dark in there now. They're used to it and it's always been that way, but it would be good to have better lighting. So the project cost is estimated at 23,000, rounding that off. The incentives are estimated at 10,125, rounding that off. The town's total cost would be 12,700, rounding that off. And a payback estimated overall of 3.1 years. It definitely would be paid back and help. Our kilowatt hours are high, and we're using the building less, but the kilowatt hours are going up. We've gotten the best deal that we can get for that, but if we could have better lighting, it would be more efficient. So this is a project we may not be able to bid out just because of the time frame. We have to have things in order for the application on March 31. And if it has to be exact, then we're going to have to go with one company and put this on the agenda tomorrow. So we're trying to get that worked out. Bernard and the new Kathy are working on that project. And then we would build out the project and have the work done, if successful, by June 30th.
It sounds like a very
I
worth.
think that we should go ahead with that.
I can come up with a match. I'm just going to have to figure out how to word all this. You would like to bid it out, but just getting an electrician in this area is hard. Our nice electrician we had for many years just does certain small jobs now, so he would not be working on this.
I think we should go ahead with it. What do you think, Heather?
Yeah, I think it's a trial project, and it certainly has a good payback time. I think 4.4 years was the longest payback on one of them. So we'll certainly, even most of them, that was only one of the buildings was that long. The rest of them were 3 years or less. So it certainly has a good payback and a return on investment for doing the project.
And even if this was optimistic, it still is good. A lot of times when you have projects, the payback period is 7 to 8 years for energy and even longer for some projects. So this is good. Probably the best we'll get. It's the end of this program. It's a new little program they put together just for municipalities. We were used to be put in with the small businesses, and looking at the application and what you had to go through and what the benefits were, a lot of towns didn't apply for it. So they created this new program, which is better for the municipalities. So we can give it our best go here and come up with a motion for the next council meeting on the 16th that will address this so that we can apply.
I think that's a good idea. I agree with it.
All right, thank you. Municipal solar options. Heather can take it away.
I don't have much more information aside from the folder that he sent over for information there. Basically, he originally contacted me for agricultural applications of solar projects. Every farmer in Maine is getting just hit hard with companies. I think I've had 4 companies in the last 3 months come either call, email, stop by the farm looking to place solar. And when he called, I said, I don't need any more solar per se, but I asked him about municipal programs that they have. And so he did have some information that he sent to us that was in the packet there. They have worked with the town of Herman to put a municipal solar project in, and they just completed that last year. And then this year they're finishing up one, I believe it was in Old Town. So there's a couple towns that we could reach out to if we wanted more information to find out about the company and how their process works. Most of these companies are going to work in the same way. They're either going to want to put in a system that we would own ourselves and be able to harvest energy from that. They would all be grid tied systems that would feed energy into the grid, and then we would get credits on our electric bills. I think the bookkeeping on this might be a little tricky just because we have so many different accounts. I'm not sure how that part works. And I don't know if the rural development has a REAP grant program, and we were able to use part of that for our solar system here on the farm. I don't know if that also applies to municipal solar systems. I know it will for businesses, but I don't know how it works with municipalities. They do have some programming for municipalities through rural development, but I'm not sure if the solar systems are one of them. I haven't really dug into this too much other than just to bring the general idea to the committee to see if it's something we would want to look into deeper.
I think it should be investigated more. It certainly can't hurt to have the information to make a more educated decision.
Yeah, and I explained to him that as a municipality, this isn't something that we would, he said they could have a system beginning to be installed within 90 days. And I explained to him that as a municipality, we don't move that quickly, and that we would have to put any projects out to bid and have it be considered by the council, and also look into I'm sure the legalities. Our attorney would want to look at any agreements as far as if we were to allow a company to put solar system on town property, or there might also be issues around finding some place to place it. Rooftops are great, but we just redid the roof on the municipal building, so I don't know if we want to go mounting things up there. The building on the Public Works building might be ideal because it's really big, but I don't know about what the exposure is on that, which way it's facing, if that's an ideal spot for the solar to be. And that roof also needs a lot of work anyway. So, I mean, there's a lot of considerations there as far as where we would want to site such a system if we decided to do it. So it's not something that we would be working through in a very quick manner. I think it would certainly take at least a year or more to put a project together, bid it out, and do all those types of things, as well as trying to find a way to pay for it.
Has anyone thought of talking to Vaughn Woodruff? His company InSource, that's what they do.
Yep, it definitely
Or
would
one
be.
of the things they do.
Yeah, it definitely would be part of the process to talk to multiple companies. And InSource Renewables has just merged with, oh shoot, the name just flew out of my head.
Yeah, it's a big company, would start
Yeah,
with R, I believe.
yes, it does start with R. I can't think of the name of it, but
Oh,
Yeah.
I can almost see it.
I can see it in my head. I just can't think of it. Anyway, they just merged with a larger company here in Maine that also does solar systems. And Vaughn's going to be transitioning to doing most of their education portion, where they're going to be training their own workers, much like Chimbro has their institute, where they're going to be providing. So that's kind of how his role is changing. But it definitely gives them more capability as far as workforce capacity and being able to handle larger projects. But yeah, definitely you'd want to be talking to at least 2 or 3 different solar companies and find out what the best way to either site a system or what type of system to put in would be, as well as sizing it. And that was one of the other things that Ian, the gentleman from Pine Tree Solar, had mentioned too, is that if we're going to be feeding into the grid, we need to make sure that our local substation can actually has room and can accept that power into it. And if it doesn't, then that's the end of our discussion, because there's nowhere for the power to go.
Right.
So that would be kind of the first thing to find out. And then as far as assessing the production capabilities or the amount of savings we could have, we would need to know what the total kilowatt hours used by the town would be. So that would kind of be like the 2 starting points. Do we have room in the substation, and do we have a total amount of kilowatt hours that are consumed each year by the town?
So the substation across the town line was supposed to be rebuilt and another one put in down off Spring Road, that project got stalled by all of the CMP petitions that took place. And so I have made a few phone calls just to see if it's going to start up again. Substations are very high taxed because their value is massive. So that would be very good for the town. And if we had a new one or a larger one or a second one, that would certainly in one part of town give us, substantial ability to hook in a lot of things.
There's a substation on Route 100 on the way to Detroit. I'm not sure exactly which side of the town line it's on though. And that was rebuilt probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has issues and needs to be made larger. And so that was part of what CMP was looking at before all the CMP corridor petitions happened.
Was that enlarged when the Chimbro, the Route 2 project came online?
No, they had to do work down on the little substation that is over the line by Heartland.
Mhm.
The back part, they had to do pay for some work to be done to that and to hook into it.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it's never good when you have to, a business or a town or anyone has to upgrade the substation because you're affecting the charge that's coming out of it. Expensive.
So anyway, that's kind of where that's at. It wasn't like an actual proposal or anything, just trying to get some other ideas as far as whether it looked like it would be something that the town should look into doing.
I think we should also look at the LED street lighting.
Well, I think all of our new, maybe we're going to talk about this tomorrow night, Catherine, but all of the new street lights that get replaced should be the LED ones, correct?
Yes, definitely on the Main
Okay.
Street project.
That would definitely help with the power consumption.
Mhm.
And I know the
Well,
$16,000 for street light sticks in your head.
So, but that's just for Main Street, you said, Catherine?
That one's, the meeting tomorrow night is just for Main Street, so it would be LED lighting. I would assume that would be looked at for the replacement street lights down there. It would only be sensible. We call it the Main Street project, but there's also a couple of street lights over on Honeywell that will rope in somehow here. We did
And
put
what
a,
about Somerset Avenue?
yeah, so if you're looking at the rest of the town, this has gotten to be a lot better arrangement under the law and what towns can do and what they can own. And there actually are areas that have done this together so that they've been able to put out bids and everything. So there are some bid documents now that are available in case we did want to look at that. And CMP, we've talked to them about the streetlights in general because it's so hard to get them to fix them now after companies changed. And so we've been talking to them about their LED lighting program, which they say there would be very few streetlight issues, but we would still, the town would still be paying CMP for the rental of the poles and everything. So you'd have to do an analysis would have to be done to see which is the better way, just to update the lighting with CMP or for the town to actually own them. And then if you own them, you got to make sure you can maintain them too.
Okay.
But the laws have changed so the towns can own their own streetlights. The cities have done some projects down in southern Maine. And I think there's a project in the Augusta area. All right, so I put that on the list, all interesting projects. So we've got split tax payments, which is the biannual, semi-annual, biannual tax payment. We have bi-weekly payrolls, municipal solar, LED street lighting.
I'm sure there's a ton of other projects, but as I have mentioned numerous times, we can't afford to take out any loans until the loans for the the last two loans are almost paid off. And just, I don't think that it'll make the taxes go up if we take another loan, and I don't think that people are gonna be very happy about it. So I know I'm getting done, but I still would like to caution when thinking about taking another loan.
Anybody have anything else they want to discuss?
Um,
I don't think so. Jason, did you have anything?
No, I don't think so. I was just taking some notes and wanted to listen in case I was gonna join the committee at some point. Wanted to kind of know what was going on. So, no, I mean, I like the LED streetlights. I think when I was reviewing like the budget last year, I think that was a pretty significant line item, actually.
Yes.
So I think that's a good idea. I mean, whatever we have to do to look into that and see if it's feasible or whatever, but I think that's something worth looking into. Obviously, anywhere else we can cut costs is a good thing. I don't know how much the solar options, that'll be interesting. I know there's a lot going on with all those, and the substations, whether they can take more power or not, and I know there's a lot to it. Definitely worth looking into. I think if we're just looking for land to throw it on, I mean, I think the town has plenty of that, so that's, I don't think that's too big of a deal, or I hope it's not, but yeah, I mean, I think it's all good options. I don't really have anything more to add at the moment, but I will think about stuff for sure.
Good, thank you. The LED lighting and the different options to the town, it always was so expensive to go with CMP, but the law changed a few years ago. And then some areas of the state, the more affluent areas went out to bid, and they did quite well, and we're happy with that. So there's now models to look at for smaller areas. Usually you would do several towns together, but this town has a lot of streetlights, the most streetlights I've seen in a town. I'm
Yeah, I
sure
think
the
there's
cities
like
have more.
385 or something like
It's
that.
crazy. Yeah, but you need them because you're
Yeah.
set up like a little mini city. So you would want the streetlights, definitely.
I assume the on and off ramp to the highway, that wasn't anything to do with the town. That was probably
Correct. Yeah.
DOT, yeah.
DOT.
Because those are really nice. So
Yes.
yeah, more of those would be pretty nice.
And those are new because the first ones they put in didn't work at all, and we were always calling up DOT. Once we realized it wasn't CMP, it was Maine DOT. And then they came after they had just put them in. The next year they came and dug them all up. And these ones that they put in several years ago work really good.
Yeah, they're great.
I don't have anything else to add.
Mhm. So if we're all set, we can adjourn.
Move we adjourn,
No, second.
and I think that's it.
I think that is it. So we'll figure out we've got our next meeting already. And if we have items, then we'll have the meeting. If we don't, or we have other things come up, then we'll move meetings around. But we do have a schedule for the rest of the year. So you don't have to set a meeting each time.
There you go.
All right. Well, this is one of my 22 meetings, but it's a more interesting one here. 22 meetings this week.
You'll send out a meeting invite for tomorrow night too, Catherine, or was that already sent out?
I did send it out if you need
Oh,
another.
you did? No, that's okay.
That's tomorrow night.
It's
Yeah.
tomorrow night. Yeah, it'll
Yep.
be very informal there. We sent out, we did invitations to everyone we could get emails to that were all the businesses in the area and a few other people, as well as the planning board, all the economic development people. And then also sent letters to everyone along Main Street, but did indicate in the advertisement or the promotion to connect in, that we are centering our discussion on the downtown Main Street. But if they have issues or questions on the other part, we will write those all down and talk to Maine Department of Transportation about it. So I expect it'll sort of be a free-for-all thing, because people don't know much about the Main Street Road project. And frankly, we only know a little bit, even though it's been going on for a long period of time. Once the DOT gets their plans together, then there'll be a lot of information available on what's going to happen with the road. We've got a basic summary for both sections. And so we'll get some good information that will help once we get the exact design work from Maine DOT, so we can whip together our design and then put them together. I think the big points for the council are going to be, one, I have been told that we probably will be fine with the CDGB grant, and one would think that you would be. I just had to put a lot of information together to plead for it here. And we did have some people call to try to help us out with that. It is far down the road, but DOT has had this issue happen before, but this is a little bit longer than usual because the project has gone from a tiny project that DOT was going to do and we were going to hook onto into this massive project that will be wonderful for the town when it's done. The whole place will look totally different downtown, and then further down, past Maine Central Institute and up by the hospital, because it's huge project that's now.
We can just get it started.
I know.
Would be great.
I know we've already spent the engineering money for meetings, but because the scope has changed, there'll be less work on some items, so we can really focus on the downtown area. So it'll be interesting, the different things that people will come up with. So we'll just tally everything up and submit lists to wherever they have to go. Some things will go to the council, some will go to the Maine Department of Transportation, some will go to the Community and Economic Development. And so it'll be interesting.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Thank you.